Are you afraid of the dark? Let's find out with the best horror games you can play on PC in 2020. If your house has been decorated with skulls all year round, you don't need Halloween as an excuse for spooky gaming. It's part of your everyday life, after all. You actually spend time carefully placing entire basil plants in your rucksack just in case a zombie does, well, this. Oh, and if you haven't already subscribed to this House of Horrors, hit the button now and ring the notification bell to ward off any evil spirits that might be lurking. For now though, from a brand new terrifying Amnesia game to Welsh ghost stories, here are the best horror games you can play on PC in 2020. Be afraid. Be very afraid. If Amnesia: The Dark Descent left you unable to sleep unless you had every light in your house on, Frictional Games' sequel, 10 Years On, will absolutely do more of the same.
Mother of God, what happened to you?
Amnesia Rebirth is the story of Tassie, a plane crash survivor in the Algerian desert in 1937, desperately trying to piece together her memories and even more desperately trying to survive with only matches for company. Once again, you won't want to stay out of the light too long as you scour these atmospheric sewers, caves and ruins for matches and lantern oil. And yes, lurking in the darkness are even more terrifying monstrosities, making each decision to spark a match even worse as you balance plummeting your sanity with the risk of being caught. With perfectly timed but beautifully rare jump scares and stressful games of hide and seek, Rebirth is a masterful terror fest. This isn't one of our Psychology of Gaming videos, but that doesn't mean we can't have a tiny lesson. Phasmophobia is officially the fear of ghosts, and most of the time, we don't really need to worry about it, until this early access game sneaked out and sent true terror deep into our souls. Also available in VR form for those who are truly gluttons for terrifying punishment, Phasmophobia sends you and 3 friends into the dark on a ghost hunting expedition. Armed with all manner of toys that a certain Venkman and co would approve of, you must gather as much evidence of ghostly activity as possible. And, of course, the reason that this game is on this list. These ghosts, they're not Casper. Things get seriously nasty. Why does no one ever just turn on the lights? It's not quite as horrific as some of the other entries on this list, but Remedy's Control is a perfect example of a spooky game that's not wholly dependent on jump scares. Instead, Jesse Faden's journey through the brutalist Federal Bureau of Control is a surreal adventure of bizarre, disjointed imagery and dream logic. Every step along these corridors delivers a fresh and often nasty surprise, but thankfully not in the same way as, say, Amnesia. Here, you can at least happily defend yourself. Jessie has plenty of tricks up her leather jacket sleeve, including an ultra-satisfying telekinesis power and her service weapon. The latter might sound like a standard-issue pistol, but it's far from it, with what are known as forms unlocking different types of bullets. Oh, and if you want more scary games that aren't too scary, check out Matt and I's investigation into just those.
Oh, hang on, with your director. It's a pleasure, ma'am. Let's skip the formalities, please.
Sometimes, horror isn't all about being the final girl and surviving against all odds. Sometimes, it's about being a giant, murderous, bloodthirsty tendril monster that can grab scientists and fling them around in the air like you just don't care. Carrion calls itself a reverse horror game, as it's very much you that's providing the scares rather than the other way around. Squidging through tunnels, yanking open doors, gaining new powers, and of course, murdering everything in sight, basically makes you a bigger, uglier version of the alien in Alien Isolation, which, if you think about it, really is an achievement. Carrion manages to deliver gleefully satisfying chompy death, but also an innovative side-scroller with puzzling as you explore these sprawling tunnels. Now, if you don't mind, I've got some screaming to cause. Just come a little closer. Got you. You might have already watched Matt and I attempt to creep through this Lovecraftian terror fest in our Let's Play. Spoiler, I really didn't enjoy the things trying to shove their way through the door.
Right, and it's this way.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What is happening to that door?
What is happening to the door?
Now available in its complete form with all 5 individual episodes, Song of Horror is a pure hit of atmospheric tension. What's truly inventive here is that while you have a selection of characters to choose from to investigate a missing author, death is permanent. There's no starting back with your favourite character and all their great traits. Instead, you must head back into the mansion with someone new, potentially dooming them to a similar fate if you can't hold your nerve. What's lurking in these shadowy halls is an entity known only as the Presence. And to stay alive, you'll have to listen at doors and creep carefully down corridors. Good luck.
Daniel, is that you?
There's been quite a lot going on in 2020, so it's no surprise that a stack of quietly excellent games have made their way onto Steam. Maid of Sker from Wales Interactive is a truly creepy dread of a horror game. Based loosely on an 1872 novel by Lorna Doone author R.D. Blackmore and inspired by Welsh folklore, this survival horror pits you against the inhabitants of a quite frankly, clearly haunted hotel. It's not spoiling anything to say that this would not be getting even a single point from me on TripAdvisor.
I'm safe upstairs, but I cannot leave the attic. I've had to lock and bar the door, hide away from the others.
You enter, armed only with your wits initially, trying to creep around and avoid grim foes who are listening for your every move. Crank up your headset if you dare and experience 3D audio as you sneak desperately past these orally sensitive nasties and uncover the secrets of the hotel. Things can get a little frustrating if you don't follow the rules, but manage your stealth and safety, and Maid of Sker is, well, made of scares.
Wait. No. They're coming. Oh God, please, no. No, don't do this. Whatever you want,
Okay, it's time for something a little more colourful and fun, but equally likely to make you scream. Kill It With Fire, as featured in our arachnophobic list not too long ago, is a spider killing simulator. Here you must make your way through all kinds of environments packed with scuttling, squeaking monstrosities. Who cares if you have flaming hairspray or, shuriken? these crawling beasties still manage to send a chill down our backs in digital form. Even when a room is quiet, there's something truly horrifying about moving a piece of furniture or opening a drawer and finding a hairy spider with knees lurking in there, waiting to squeak and jump out. Oh, and no, this game definitely isn't for those who just want to put a glass over their new friend and pop them out the window. But for everyone else, never has a title been more perfect. Kill it with fire. It's the oldest game on this list, but Dead by Daylight just can't stop lumbering on at a terrifyingly steady pace that still seems to catch up with us even when we're running. If you've been hiding under the bed for 4 years, this slasher's premise remains dangerously simple. Club together with other survivors to restart generators while a killer lurks in the shadows, picking off the weak and hanging them on hooks, Leatherface style. You'd have thought that this electricity obsession would have become somewhat samey over the years, but the sheer volume of official horror DLC has meant that things have stayed, well, a scream. Jigsaw, that aforementioned Chainsaw fan, and A Nightmare on Elm Street have all been given the asymmetrical horror treatment. And if you're still bitter about the cancellation of Silent Hills, this year's Foggy DLC includes Cheryl Mason and the executioner himself, Pyramid Head. The horror of Robert Kirkman's Apocalypse is twofold. 1, you've got the slavering undead, and 2, you've got the humans who really can't handle themselves around those brain-hungry zombs. Popping on a VR headset for The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, then, is a 360-degree plunge into truly horrifying territory as you face the very real dangers of New Orleans.
You'll be able to stroll right in. After that, whatever you need to do, that's your business. Personally, I'd put a few bullets through their skulls.
The big difference here is that where other VR experiences are quite often like modern light gun games, Saints and Sinners embraces every facet of VR. You physically have to wind a bandage around your arm to heal, forcefully break bottles for stabbing into zombie carotids, and carefully judge the angle of your blade to correctly remove those pesky heads. Throw in moral decision-making and an arsenal that would make John Wick green-eyed, and Saints and Sinners is an immersive horror fest that doesn't depend on sneaking up behind you in the dark. Well, much. There's brand new Resident Evil on the horizon in next year's Village. But if you want the stress of worrying about where your next bullet is coming from right now, the Resi 2 remake should absolutely be at the top of your infected list. Even if you remember every scare and monster of the original, Resident Evil 2 expertly remixes the scares like a particularly vindictive barman at a cocktail bar. Liquors aren't where they used to be, puzzles have been switched around, and jump scares have been expertly placed in the unlikeliest of places. The story remains the same, and you're still exploring Raccoon City after its fall to Umbrella's hordes back in 1998, but this is the perfect remake of a true survival horror experience. And yes, you can shoot Mr. X's hat off. Now, run.
Jesus, stay back!
So that's 10 horror games on PC you should play right now if you never want to sleep again. Let us know what scary games you're playing right now in the comments below. Drop us a like if you've enjoyed the Creeping Dread, and subscribe to Logitech G for more videos just like this one. If you do already subscribe, hit that notification bell to make sure you never miss when another one arrives. Don't worry, it won't make too much noise.